A very good evening to all of you joining the Biz Roundup special edition on another Sunday. And today we're going to talk about the human resource management and the development in Sri Lanka. And to talk about this, we have the president of CIPM Sri Lanka, Mr. Jayantha Amarasinghe. To talk a bit about him, he has nearly 3 decades of experience in human resource management, and currently he is also the Deputy General Manager of a reputed bank in Sri Lanka. Hello, Mr. Jayantha
Hi,
Amarasinghe.
Shinshini.
Thank you for joining with our television today for the Biz Roundup
Thank you very
special
much
edition.
for the invitation.
Great. So, to start the conversation with, let's start from what is human resource management. Now, the definition of human resource management has been evolving over the years. Let's talk about this evolvement and what is its definition right now.
Thank you, Ashinshini. Good evening, everyone, and for the opportunity given to us to CIPM Sri Lanka to present here and talk about the HR and their involvement and also the national role. The area you asked that how the HR has been evolving in the world. You must be knowing, reading so many textbooks, you must have found that we started the personal administration, staff administration, and then it became a personal management, and then after some time, 80s, 90s, it became human resource management. Now it has become talent management. That's how it has been evolving. Today, if you take these organizations, the human no more administration, no more personal management. It is there as a people management formula. The mandate and the agenda is a people development, people management. There you get the performance management, talent management, and the employee engagement, and also employee well-being, and also their succession planning, and how the leaders are becoming good productive managers. So those are the elements today we talk about that. The administration part is given to a separate section, like sometimes some companies it has been outsourced. Now the main HR role today is business driven HR partnership. That's where we are talking about. Most of the multinational companies and most of the companies, they are very much having confidence on the HR partnership. Most of the companies, I can say that their success is people. How the people have been changing the way of delivering results to the organization. So that's what I want to mention, that how that HR personal management or staff administration has been evolving today to the level of human resource management.
Yeah. Along with that evolvement, what is the importance of human resource management along with this definition you mentioned?
Mainly today is a talent management. If you take an individual, wherever coming from, that we need to understand their talent and then develop them, understand their capacity, capability, and then groom them and give them the right job and motivate them and engage them with the business objective and give them tasks, give them objectives, give them KPIs, and believe them and show the world and change the way they are coming from, change the way that we are working. So these are the elements today taking place in human resource management, mainly performance management, mainly the talent management, mainly succession planning, mainly career development. So those are today the younger generations are very much ambitious. If you don't have that human resources best practices, they are not going to be in the organization more than 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah. So identifying this talent management in every individual is important for an organization to drive is what you're at.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Along with this, now coming into the current situation of Sri Lanka, what is the most common HR related problem you see in Sri Lanka?
Good point, Ashinshini, that I clearly see that Sri Lanka is, I'm not blaming any part of this government, but it has been there that we have not been identifying the capacity of our people. At the beginning of their studies even, we are not recognizing their talent and direct them to the level, to the positions, to the areas where they are talented. So we just release them for them to choose depending on their interests and depending on their whatever the reasons. So this is the problem that we have been facing as a country. So that has to be addressed at least now.
That has to be addressed.
Yes. Yes.
So along with this, now after taking over the presidency at CIPM, how do you see your challenges in taking the national role forward as the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management?
Yeah, that's CIPM, as you know, has been established by an act of parliament 60 years ago. And since then, we have been delivering our core values and objectives to the all stakeholders. When you take these stakeholders, essentially you can see that we have a bigger students base and who are entering to the human resource management and becoming good leaders. And then secondly, our HR managers and professionals. And then thirdly, the government and the government institutions. And then coming these international bodies like AFRAM, like Asia Pacific Federation of Human Resource Management and World Federation of Human Resource Management, where the CIPM are the members of these two organizations. And then when it comes to other professional bodies, so we have to manage their challenges in terms of their expectations. So if you take the students, we have nearly about 9,000 students at any given time. So we have recently launched the chartered qualifications in human resource management. That's one and only qualifications in the country, in the region, talking about this chartered HR in terms of their expectations. So we are so proud to have that qualification in this country, chartered qualification in people management. So that is where we are managing the students' expectations who are beginners in human resource management and people management. Then when it comes to the national role, our relationship and our collaborations and the partnership with the government is highly important at this juncture, because since the new government has come on board, so they are working on that, the people development, performance management, and the productivity and the skills development. So we are here to start productive collaboration with the government to assist them in terms of the skills development or in terms of the performance management or the leadership development, that we have resources in the sense, we are a member-driven organization. We have 2,000 odd members who are really professionals and leaders in the private sector. So at any given time, we can, share them, to start and support the government. But that invitation should come from the government, because we are not going to earn from the government.
Yes.
We are going to share the knowledge with the government.
Yeah.
So that's how we are going to address some of these, going to get involved with the national level initiatives.
I think regarding your assistance to the government's plan, I shall come to that in short while.
Yeah.
But let's look at the skilled labor force of the country now. When you review the skilled labor force of the country, what are your thoughts and articulations in contributing more to the GDP and like in developing all this skilled labor force in the country?
Thank you, Ashwini. I think very relevant questions to the nation. And if you really, this is going to be a very controversial what I'm going to talk about that. If you really analyze our educational system, nearly about 600,000 students today, they are sitting for these O-level exam. And then out of which 281,000 approximately is sitting for the A-level. So then you can see 50% of these O-level students are releasing to the society. No one knows what is happening, right? No one knows what is happening, right? Then when it comes to the A-level, A-level nearly about 281,000. 280,000 are sitting for the A-level, out of which somewhere around 180,000 are getting eligible for the universities, right? Out of which you and me know very well that around 30,000 are getting selected to the universities.
Correct.
So then almost there are 250,000 A-level students. We don't know what is happening to them, where they are going, whether they are being focused or whether they have been given the right choice, whether they have been given the right career guidance, we don't know. So as a country, we have to analyze and calculate the risk in terms of releasing this to exit. One is at O-level,
O-levels.
right? We are releasing 300 students.
Right.
And then when it comes to the A-level, we are releasing nearly about 250 qualified. They have been qualified at O-level.
Yeah.
When they come to A-level, we are releasing nearly about 250. Why? Altogether 280. You are releasing 30,000 people for universities and the balance 250. So we are releasing them. Only way that they can get involved in vocational training.
Right.
Yeah. So as a country, with a policy, the government has to get involved analyzing these two gates to exit. If you don't analyze and get a calculated analysis, what are they going to do? What they have chosen? Are they getting focused on their interests? And have we analyzed their talents? Whether they are going to contribute to the GDP, right? Whether they are going to start their self-employment, or whether they are going to start the vocational training. We have not analyzed. Yes, we have released them. So these two exits are highly important for a country to develop them to contribute to the GDP. Now we have nearly about 10,000 schools, right? All these two exits are being released by all these schools.
Right.
But currently in the country we have only 1,300 vocational training centers.
Right. Yeah.
So do you think these 1,300 vocational training centers can accommodate the people are released by 10,000 schools? Answer is no.
No.
Then before the country is going to review the syllabus, they have to analyze their capacity. What the country required, human resources distribution is not yet analyzed. Now if you want more, let's say bankers,
Yeah.
if you want more engineers, if you want more doctors, the other countries, they change the ratio in the education system year by year because to get the required labor force to the country.
Yeah. So that is the way how you can assist the government to improve the skilled labor force in the country. How can this contribute to the GDP? If you can just
This way I'm telling that I'm trying to connect this. If you can identify the school level or Pradesi Sabha level or the Grama Sevaka level or whatever the level, there are too many government offices in the country.
Yeah.
Even the principals are there. Even the country can appoint career guidance advisors for each district, right? 25 district. Let's bring 100 career guidance advisors. And at the O level, let us get involved with students and understand what are their interests, what are their capacity. Observe, talk to the teachers, talk to the principal. School level that need to be addressed. In sitting in Colombo, this cannot be done. But from the government side, they have to set up policies and procedures. What is the mechanism? From such mechanism, of course, CIPM can help them. This is how need to be structured. So if you can identify the O level or A level, what are their interests, how are they going to, groom their, way of life or their employment. So that is getting connected. Let's say if they have chosen the carpenter, if they have chosen plumbing job, if they have chosen beauty culture, if they have chosen self-employment, so then if it is a self-employment, government can assist them. If it is a beauty culture, of course, government or somebody, the private sector can assist them. Yes, there are people, let's say 1,000, 2,000 people, they are willing to study the beauty,
Yeah.
those self-employment opportunities.
Understood.
Then when it is getting connected, then we don't want to connect 100%. Nowhere in the world that getting connected 100%. At least address 70 to 80%. Then the country is on track in terms of the people development.
I think along with those suggestions, I think the common issue you mentioned, the Sri Lanka is undergoing related to human resource management, is also
Yeah.
being addressed if such suggestions are implemented with time. Amidst this important conversation on human resource management and development of Sri Lanka, we would now like to take a small break and be back. Hello everyone, welcome back after the break. Today, as you know, we're in discussion with the President of CIPM Sri Lanka, Mr. Jayant Amarasinghe, on the human resource management and the development of Sri Lanka. And after the break, now I would like to take up the conversation about the new government. The new government has announced a skills development decade. As one of the recognized frontrunners in human resource management in Sri Lanka, how can you really assist this government's plan of skills development decade?
Essentially, after after long years back, at least this government has started, taking this
Thinking about it.
people development and human resource development as key area in their agenda. I really appreciate as he coming from the professional, not only chartered institute, but personal management, but also representing all the other professional bodies is one thing that is really recognized and commendable. Having said that, yes, that we are ready to get involved with the government in terms of sharing our intellectual knowledge, how this area need to be addressed. If you take that the career guidance, where the issue is now this our youth has not been given the proper career guidance, where they are having the right potential. Because if you are a knowledgeable parent, of course that you will direct your students nicely and professionally and accurately. But we know that where we are in our country, majority of our students coming from other outside Colombo. So the parents, they give the choice to the student, choice to the youth. You do whatever you prefer to do. Then if we haven't got any guidance, career direction from the school, from the society, from the professional bodies, so then we cannot blame them after some time. They will get isolated in the society.
Correct.
They are coming to the society with no direction. So we are there, of course, if the government can invite us to give them a kind of mechanism, how the professional bodies like Chartered Institute of Personal Management or other institute professional bodies can come forward and draw a mechanism, give it to them and start guiding these students at O level, and also at the A level. So that will be the starting point. And the second thing is the skills development. Now, we can't invest on the skills development, putting vocational training centers. That the government has to do that. But what we can do is, if there is a requirement, we can provide our trained resources to train our youth. And also, as an institute, per annum, we are releasing nearly about 2,000 odd students with the skill resources managing people. So there are professional bodies who are willing to take this challenge, and the developing skills development, grooming the youth, that is not only the government mandate. It is our mandate. Public and private partnership is so vital in this game. If we gonna say that only government has to look after, no, that's wrong. The public and private partnership is very important for us to develop the younger generation. So that is where the country has to encourage, has to motivate the professional bodies in the country, come forward and take the major share of this development, take the major share of career development, take the major share of skills development. So that kind of formula will work at this point of time. If we are not going to change the country at this juncture, I'm telling you, we'll never get a chance to change the country thinking across the country.
This is the way forward you see
That's
in
right.
human resource management, in developing, in having a skills development decade in
Yes.
future. Now, you mentioned how our students pass out from schools without any particular direction, right? Now, these days, the new government is in discussion of restructuring the education system in Sri Lanka. In restructuring this, now the current education system does not have HR as a subject in the syllabus. don't you think HR is a subject which has to go into the syllabus, and how can you really get this into the new restructuring of the education system which is happening currently?
Yeah, highly important point that you are raising, essentially. In the current context, of course, we are also talking about that at the school level, the people should know the
Exactly.
people management, working with people, teamwork, and understand the others' behavior, and working together, and believe others, respect others. These things are missing in our school education.
Exactly.
So we are going to propose to the government that people management skills and people development skills should be part of the A-level education, A-level curriculum. So that we have taken our proposition to propose the government. At the same time, as I said at the beginning, the government has to address those two exits very carefully. Otherwise, whatever the curriculum that we are going to propose or structure is not going to work. And this education system has to be developed in combination of everyone. It should not be given to only the university lecturers. We are very strong on that point that in the past it has been the case, right? What we are proposing, right, it has to be a combination of all the professionals. We need to invite university lecturers, we need to invite professionals, we need to invite practitioners. Then only we can mold our generation to the job market. Otherwise, job market here, our knowledge is here, there's a huge gap in the market. So we are blaming the government. End of the day, youth will blame the government, whatever the government. So we should not allow this thing to happen again. The curriculum has to be developed, combined professionals, that not only the university lecturers, but also the professionals in the other sectors and the private sector as well. Yeah.
I hope these are good set of proposals which you have in mind from your side, and let's hope the new government will take some action on these as well. Now, let's come into the timely topic of COVID-19 global pandemic. Now, along with this global pandemic situation, all the organizations around the world, in Sri Lanka especially, took a huge turn. What is the overall impact of this pandemic to the organizations from the HR perspective?
Interesting. That all the changes have been adopted as normal.
Right.
Essentially, we never thought to work in a country when the airport is closed, when the transportation is completely shut down,
True.
when the supermarket and the shopping or marketing chain completely shut down, and we are not going to work, still working. We never expected. But we adopted and we did. No one came to the road and said no transportation, no airport, no harbor. We never spoke about that. Why? We changed, all these changes became normal. Because we started, have you ever heard that, working from home? We work. Yes, students, they started learning online. But still now the parents are saying, no, I don't know to send my child school. I can depend on online. So all these changes have been adopted as normal. Now we have started changing policies, mainly human resource policies, flexi working hours and working from home, different allowances, and mainly well-being, employee well-being.
So, during our conversation, we highlighted few of the proposals which have been proposed by you to the government. Other than those, what are the other proposals from CIPM to the government in terms of shifting the effectiveness of the overall administration of the country?
Yeah, it's a very, applicable area that even the country leader also talking about, that the performance management, including the ministers and other member of parliaments, their performance and the government sector performance, mainly the private sector performance management has come to a level to the expected, in the organization. But the performance management has not been properly functioning in these government sector organizations. It is nothing wrong with the with the people, that we have not given a system, that most of the organizations that still we don't have HR manager in these government organizations. Very few organizations having a HR function. So if you don't give these HR functions, that obviously there is no way to take up these HR best practices. So then they are not talking about the performance management. They are not talking about these, KPIs. They are not talking about this talent management. They are not going to talk about these, engagement and succession planning, grooming people from this level to the next level. They are not going to talk about that. Why? That is not the agenda anyway. So that has to be, inculcated in part of the government. We are prepared to help the government. We are prepared to take the challenge, in terms of, introducing a performance management system to the government, and the good balance scorecard or a good key performance indicators to the government, even that our professionals, our well-trained HR professionals, even my council, there are talented people representing the private sector, public sector, and university professors in my council. So they are ready to support the government, government institutions to identify and introduce this performance management, leadership development, and also personality development. Because there are talented people in government sector, but they have not been given opportunities. They have not been given the, the opportunities to them come forward and deliver more. It happens in the private sector.
Yeah, I think that's one of the important factors we are highlighting today. As you mentioned, most of the government sector organizations do not even have an HR functioning in their companies. So implementing this is very important to take the HR topic forward, or to develop the administrative aspect of Sri Lanka. Am I right?
That's right.
Yeah. So with this proposal for the people management development in Sri Lanka, what are the initiatives lined up from your side?
Yeah, after taking over this presidency, that we have been discussing with our council members and other professionals in the industry, that how are we going to analyze this real labor concern in terms of developing them, and also whether they have been positioned or whether they have been placed on their real jobs in the country. So we are going to have these 3 national level research. One is, in other countries we have professional farmers. Now if you're gonna develop this country, you need 3 dimensions. One is you need the production economy, other one is you need the agriculture, another one is the service. Because in Sri Lanka we have human resources. So if you don't emphasize on developing our human resources, we're going to fail, because we don't have any other resources set off these human resources. So what we are saying, that if you take certain segments like carpenters, the farmers. Now we don't have professional farmers. When you go to other countries, they have professional farmers. But our country, whatever the reasons, there is no professional farmers. Why? There is no recognition. Now we have to recognize them, should have a mechanism to encourage and promote them and recognize. Then the other area, we are going to have a applied research to find out why we can't produce professional farmers in this country. That's the one way. Second area is that we are going to understand why we don't have professional carpenters and plumbers and masons. You see, today essentially you can live without a banker, right? Because as far as you are getting your finance, but can you build a house without a carpenter, without a plumber, or without a mason? No, answer is no. But if I ask your parents, parents would like to, release daughter to marry a carpenter or a plumber. They will never. But without a banker or without other profession can live, but plumbers and carpenters and masons, many other jobs, what I am saying, these are only examples, not being recognized. Even they cannot go for a house loan facility from the bank, because they don't have a full-time employment. So we are going to find out why this country cannot recognize these plumbers and carpenters and these jobs. And the third area is very important for the women in Sri Lanka, that why Sri Lankan women live in the country for housemaid jobs. So not only the employee, the foreign income, but we are talking about that whether they have been successful in their life. They are leaving the country for a 45,000 or 50,000 salary. But there are companies, there are citizens in this country, they are prepared to pay the same, but they are not staying in the country. So we are going to have another research to find out why these people are leaving, and also their family society issues coming up. So these are the three national level research that the CIPM is going to conduct in coming months.
Now, coming into the final segment of today's Biz Roundup Special Edition, I would like to ask the final question is, now marking a milestone in Sri Lanka won the hosting rights for the World HR Congress 2020 by CIPM Sri Lanka. But this was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. What is the current update about this?
That's right. We were planning to have it in summer and June in this year.
Yeah.
Even though, as I said, whether we are ready, the other countries are not releasing their professionals. So because of that, we have postponed the plan to the next year. Next year's summer and June, we are hoping to have that World HR Congress, and we are not going to have it online because then the quality will, go down. So we are insisting to have the physical World Congress in this country, and we are working on that to have the World HR Congress in Sri Lanka in coming years.
I think Sri Lanka hosting the World HR Congress is something to look forward to by all HR professionals in Sri Lanka. With that, we would now like to wrap up today's Biz Roundup Special Edition. Thank you so much, Mr. Jayant Amrasinghe, for joining with us today for the Art Television Biz Roundup Special Edition. I think that was a very good conversation and a valuable conversation we had in talking about the human resource management and the development in Sri Lanka. With that, we are wrapping up today's Biz Roundup Special Edition. See you soon. Thank you for joining. Good night.